What's up? It's your boy Kevin to turn on this motherfucking YouTube shit. Wow, what the fuck?
What's up? It's your boy. Can't tell you do shit. Hey man, say man, we are lit. Let's just see man. Turn. Say, you want to pick a day? Straight here outside. Big crip in the gang. Straight here outside shit, man. Free Palestine, free Congo. Russia, do your thing, and Texas stand the fuck up. Each day is ready to be a better version of yourself. Never let somebody bring you down or stand back. Never let somebody tell you you are, but also put yourself in a position of alone. Stay humble. Let's get on the revolution on this movement. Hey, keep y'all way first, man. Coming to the Black Hebrew Israelites, a real Jew, man. Let's get into it. Alright. Boom. Today, motherfucking day. Straight here outside. Big crip in the gang. Straight here outside shit, man. Alright, gang. So you know, this is one of our beloved rapper artists that, you know, we had a lot of similar shit in common. And I'll be honest, I fuck with Juice Wrld when he first came out. Not really, because I feel like a lot of his shit was like on some demonic tip. But as far as I started listening more, man, Juice Wrld was just a naturally genuine type of person, man. You know, he had a lot of inspiration. He had a lot of shit to talk about. He had a lot of shit to get off his chest. And he had made a lot of dreams come true. And he had made a lot of black-owned people and just people in general come up in the game to become more successful in general. So this is just the outtake on what happened to Juice Wrld and how did it get like this and how did he get finessed and man, this shit gets so fucking deep, man. Like some of this shit you be like, what the fuck? Did they really do Juice Wrld like this, man? They fucked Juice Wrld over low key, man. So, hey, we got the videos, man. R.I.P. Juice Wrld, man. Happy Juice Wrld Day, man. Juice Wrld Day just came. I don't know if the last month, this month, but happy Juice Wrld Day, man. We miss you, Juice Wrld. Hey, this is a video, man. Let's get into it, man. Man, shout out to Juice Wrld, man. You know, Juice Wrld Day just came up. You know what I'm saying? And he just came out with a new song, Empty Your Pockets. That shit been running up. It's like 41 million. Even after death, R.I.P. He's still killing it. Shout out to Adjustment Day, and let's get it.
I think the main advice I give myself is just to not give up and keep striving and stay sober.
Few artists have dared to bare their soul like Juice Wrld.
One of a kind.
That's just a part of me touching on emotions that people really be scared to touch on.
His triumphant rise, paired with introspective lyrics that felt ripped from the pages of a diary.
I could express myself in songs sometimes more than I could talk, you know?
And his tragic death built a legacy that's both massive and painfully fragile.
This morning, so many questions as to how a seemingly healthy 21-year-old could die so unexpectedly.
Through his music, Juice invited us into his world of triumph and torment.
One thing about Juice, he was
bare for all to see.
very social.
You know what I'm saying? Like, basically, like he wanted to die, some shit, man.
This is the story of Juice Wrld.
And the goats.
Juice Wrld's story starts in Chicago. Born December 2nd, 1998 as Jared Anthony Higgins. His parents' divorce at age 3 was just the beginning of life's hard lessons. Raised by his devout, conservative mom in the south suburbs, Juice grew up in a house where hip-hop was banned like contraband. So he found inspiration in unexpected places. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and Guitar Hero. Those games opened his ears to
I played Guitar Hero.
Like Billy Idol
Tony Hawk's shit was alright.
It wasn't the playlist of a future rap icon, but it taught him one thing. Rules were made to be broken.
That's a
His
fact.
music journey, however, started even earlier. At 4 years old, his mom signed him up for piano lessons, unknowingly setting the stage
Young
for
Juice.
his future career. By middle school, he wasn't just playing piano anymore. He was shredding on the guitar, smashing the drums, and even rocking the trumpet in
I
band
played the piano and the trumpet.
I used to, and then that's just how I started. I was like 4 or 5 years old doing that. So like, eventually I think I started freestyling on some random shit, and I got good at it. And it's always been something I was able to do.
Then he discovered lean, and with it came a darker shift.
What is lean? Lean is a slang term for codeine cough syrup. It's also known by the names of purple drank and scissor, and it's a form of opiate that has been popularized in southern rap scenes of Houston and Atlanta. Codeine is a milder opiate, but it's still addictive and can be lethal when mixed with alcohol. Lean also contains promethazine, which is a prescription antihistamine that, while not addictive in itself, can be very harmful in large doses.
You always had issues with drugs even before you started to get famous and rich?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was something that I was into early, low-key, due to music. Because, like, I was a music head, so, like, in 6th grade, 7th grade, I'm hearing songs about sipping lean. Those are, like, the real
lean, baby,
years,
lean.
I feel like, especially for, like, a boy. Like, finding out who your role models are, what you like, basketball, football. That's, like, when you start kind of choosing the dreams you want to chase, damn near.
Right.
It depends on your usage, bro. Like, some people could drink casually, sip casually all day.
You supposed to sip that shit.
Okay.
You can't just drink that shit, because you drink that shit, nigga, you gonna get fucked up.
What alcohol does to your...
That's like popping them pills, bitch. You just can't pop pills after popping pills, bitch. You gonna get fucked up.
Take it to the extreme.
That's a fact.
Like, for the example, I think Wayne has said after a while, he wasn't even pouring codeine with pop. He was drinking it straight out the bottle, like drinking it raw.
Things only got worse in high school.
But that's a crazy ass fucking smile, nigga.
Focus like in school.
Like a maniac.
Very smart. But he didn't like the idea of school, so it was always a struggle with him in school and, skipping school, skipping classes. So I always had to have a plan for him.
Struggling in school, he was eventually prescribed meds for focus, but that spiraled into addiction to Percocet and Xanax.
In high school, he had therapy because he had impulsive behavior. So I had him see a psychologist. So he was used to communicating and really getting in touch with his feelings.
Still, high school wasn't all bad. It's where his entertainment career truly began.
My school has a radio show, and when I first decided to become a rapper, I was on there, and I would freestyle. But it was ran by my homie Jalen. He was another artist at my school, and he just kind of created a platform for me to freestyle, just to get it out a little bit. So, shout out to Jalen. He's in the military now. Shout out to Jalen.
Eventually, as a freshman, armed with just a cell phone, Juice recorded and uploaded his first track forever on SoundCloud under the name Juice the Kid.
Well, my music is I don't overthink it. Music is really just, people love to hear something that came out that was good, that's natural, that doesn't sound forced, that sounds authentic. People love that.
His name was inspired by Tupac's legendary role in the film Juice, where savage ambition and survival collide. It was a fitting tribute to a rap icon and a signal of Juice's own hunger to rise above his struggles and claim his place in the music world.
Shit.
From 1991, featuring Big Daddy Kane.
Hey.
Yes, you are Juice
Wrld, man.
And here is the Juice soundtrack.
What the fuck? This is one of my favorite movies. This is one of the reasons I got my name. For sure I had his haircut. This is wild. This is crazy. You're blessing me right now, bro. This is crazy as fuck.
After rebranding as Juice Wrld, he dropped his debut full-length EP 999 in June 2017. The standout track, Lucid Dreams, became a breakthrough hit, skyrocketing his popularity and setting the stage for his rise to stardom.
Funny, because I wrote that song in 15 minutes. And then on the original mixtape that it was on, I didn't think that was going to be it was just another song. Obviously, I liked it enough to put it on the project, but I didn't think that was going to be the smash. Like I said, Lucid Dreams, I wasn't rushing to write that song. I wrote it in 15 minutes. Some of the best songs I've
like dropped. I've made in like 15, 20 minutes. And it's just off the strength of my work ethic.
And yet, this was only the prologue. His journey to greatness was only beginning.
Meeting the fans is pretty insane, you know what I'm saying?
Juice WRLD found his stride.
Especially when you're a brand new superstar.
He graduated high school and stepped into adulthood. The EP gave him an audience.
he came with the VA.
Went viral, riding the haunting waves of Sting's "Shape of My Heart." Juice looked like a fresh face with an old, classy, and sensitive heart.
When I was making the song, actually the original sample, Sting, "Shape of My Heart," I was watching a movie, The Professional, Leon the Professional. It was an outro song. I heard it. I thought it was crazy. I had to flip it to my own beat. That's when I heard it. And then, yeah, that's pretty much where I got the sample from.
Sting himself was flattered about the sample and hinted at Juice's knack for drawing from the past to craft something new.
Are you familiar with Lucid Dreams?
Of course I am,
from
yeah.
Juice WRLD, and what are your thoughts on that song?
I love that bit. I mean, that song's been covered easily 50 times, maybe more. But that's probably my favorite.
It's laudable that Juice drew inspiration from music that came out long before he was born. But while the instrumentation has depth, his lyrics often stick to familiar themes: designer clothes, cash, women, and drugs. Territory well tread by his auto-tuned contemporaries.
I could do what I want with a song. If I had a good idea, like a good mindset, I could make like lit music, you know what I'm saying? Even if I'm talking about something that's completely random, it's the energy that the song has that'll make it a good song. How do you think people get on the radio with saying one word for 2 minutes? Pitch. They're generating a lot of good vibes, so the pitch sounds kind of hard on the song.
And on songs like Lost Her, the constant repetition doesn't come across as clever minimalism. It feels like he's grasping for words. Juice WRLD had the tools to break the
Juice WRLD got
mold,
so many
but
songs.
was still learning how to use them. Looking back, 999 feels more like a demo than a polished album. A rough draft that, against all odds and maybe even a bit prematurely, blasted Juice WRLD into a realm of fame and success he wasn't yet ready for. Proof that the universe loves a wild card.
What I felt when my music started to take off was just kind of like this feeling of it was real, like surreal, you know. It was almost like I couldn't believe what was happening. I wasn't gonna ever sell out, but just trying to put out my version of like what I think is like a polished
big ass fucking Trynna
product. Right. So I never really had that thought in my mind like, oh, what if they don't? Because it was almost as if they like it, they like it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't really like nervous about it at all.
December 2017 marked another milestone with the release of the 3-song EP, Nothing's Different. One track, All Girls Are the Same, caught fire thanks to a feature on the hip-hop blog Lyrical Lemonade. Fast forward to February 2018, and the Cole Bennett-directed music video sent the song into overdrive.
I had no idea that Lucid Dreams and All Girls Are the Same were gonna blow up. Not like belittling like my songs. I just thought they were, just songs to post.
It wasn't long before Interscope Records signed Juice for a whopping $3 million deal.
So you went from a huge...
Critics couldn't get enough of All Girls Are the Same. Sure, it's bratty and over the top, but it's also incredibly catchy and oddly charming, with Juice coming across as a heartbroken guy just trying to figure it all out. Tell me what's the secret to love. I don't get it. Juice drones in that flat, hypnotic tone of his. It's not flashy, but it cuts deep. Simple, moody, and impossible to forget. Even Pitchfork gave it the nod as Best New Music. By April, it hit the Billboard Hot 100 at number 92, while Lucid Dreams climbed to number 74. By May, Lucid Dreams had already peaked at number 2 on the Hot 100, becoming one of the most streamed songs of the year.
Man, I'm just making music, man. Spreading my music, bro. Giving people something to relate to.
That same month, he dropped Lean With Me, which hit number 68 on the same chart. The very next day, he finally released his official debut album, Goodbye and Good Riddance.
Goodbye, Good Riddance. It's on all streaming platforms. It's just a piece of myself I put out for people to hear.
Yeah.
Really.
I could have honestly put probably like 30 or 40 other songs on the project. I'm sitting on like a lot of music, so it could have been a whole different project. It was kind of hard to pick and choose what songs to put in.
Think of Goodbye and Good Riddance as a breakup diary, messy,
But my phone look like that right now.
in teenage drama. Juice WRLD's heartbreak is the star of the show, and he leans into it hard.
You could draw a lot of artistic parallels between this and a lot of the moody, spacey trap sounds that we've been hearing artists explore over the past few years. But Juice seems to consciously be mixing these sounds with elements of emo music.
The album cover sets the tone, a campy cartoon of Juice peeling out in a car, middle finger raised, leaving his ex in the dust. It's petty, over the top, and yet totally fitting. Juice spends the album singing to a vague you, but let's be real, he's really singing to himself. His heartbreak is loud, performative, and oddly stylish. It's heartbreak chic, and nobody's better at playing the part than Juice WRLD.
How many times have you had your heart broken?
Honestly, probably like once or twice.
Just once or twice?
Yeah.
I've been heartbroken
There
twice,
are some
man.
tracks on this thing that I legitimately love
This shit
and
crazy.
sort of make me look forward to hopefully a brighter future for Juice WRLD. There are plenty of cuts on here where I think vocally, emotionally, lyrically, he does go a little overboard, bordering on being obnoxious or just kind of feeling like the sadness of this record is very forced.
Thankfully, the music doesn't feel stuck. There's a brutal emotional punch to his songs with his weepy groans and emo snarls, perfectly complementing the blunt honesty of his lyrics. Sure, he tends to tell rather than show his feelings, but the immediacy of his emotions keeps the music compelling. Even the simplest sing-song couplets can overshadow clunky lines like, "I'm on the drugs way too much," and get trapped in your head like they were meant to be there all along.
We don't talk about it from a good point of view or a bad point of view. We talk about it from a realistic point of view. So it's like what we're going through, how we feel, if we're with, you know what I'm saying, if we ain't doing it at the moment, if it's, you know what I'm saying, if I'm hurting, you know what I'm saying, like, it's a realistic point of view when it comes to, like, the shit that motherfuckers experiment with and shit that people, you know, shit that I've been through, so.
What makes the album stand out is its unmistakable emo rap vibe. Nick Mira, Juice WRLD's go-to producer, leans into the mood with syrupy synths and restless trap snares, amplifying the drama of Juice's lyrics. The whole album feels drenched in this sound, a kind of gloomy, emotional fog that ties every track together.
They say that you make like sad music, right?
Yeah.
So is that maybe because of a result of that, those, you know what I mean?
I feel like the reason why I make that type of music is that's just a part of me touching on emotions that people really be scared to touch on. Like, yeah, so I feel like as far as all the sad music I make, it's either stuff that I may have went through, stuff that my homie may have went through, just something that I feel like people need to relate to, and stuff to get them through shit. That's really be the source behind that shit.
On June 19th, he released a 2-song EP titled Too Soon as a tribute to late rappers Lil Peep and XXXTentacion.
I felt like it was very important to memorialize X and P because they are people that have changed music for everybody. I had no type of relationship with Peep at all. I was really speaking from a fan standpoint. But what Josh said, I don't want to say we were friends, but we had quite a few deep conversations. He had nothing but positive advice to give me and, just like trying to give me guidance and stuff. You know, he was a very intelligent, talented person. All you can do is keep them in your hearts and remember them for all like the great things that they've done and learn from their mistakes so you won't end up in the same situation.
Lil Peep had passed away from an overdose in 2017, while X was tragically murdered just one day before the EP's release.
Me and X planned to hang out. We had a couple like deep conversations, talked on the phone a few times. He had nothing but positive stuff to say. For real. From his point of view, we didn't really see eye to eye like that, but we had respect for each other at the end of the day. That's what was gonna kind of lead into a friendship. It's two different personalities. His mindset is on a whole nother. You know what I'm saying?
The following month, Juice released Wasted featuring Lil Uzi Vert. It was his first ever collaborative single and the only track on Goodbye and Good Riddance with a guest feature.
Some people just get high to numb themselves so they won't feel certain things. When you get to a certain point of intoxication, you're unable to operate. Like your motor skills become very out of pocket.
That's true.
The song debuted at number 68 on the Hot 100 and peaked at 67 the next week. Later that month, Juice also announced his first tour, World Domination, and most importantly, revealed he was already working on his next album, keeping fans excited for what was coming next.
That nigga Juice had a lot of energy, bro. I watching the Juice vlog. Juice is always rapping, man. Always rapping, always getting lit.
I ran into some Percocets my freshman year. 14, 15 years old, 13, 14, whatever the fuck the age is. I ran into some Percocets my freshman year. Niggas was calling me my homie Clucks, right? 2 years later, 3 years later, Future dropped 56 Nights. By the way, Future is the GOAT.
You did.
Niggas hit my phone like, will you get all them perks from them Zans, Wrld? Like, cause of some music. And like I said, I don't know if I said this earlier in here or in some having a convo with somebody else, but hearing that music at such a young age, nigga, I was trying to sip lean in 6th grade.
You did.
Listening to Dirty Sprite 1 and True Story. So it's like, it's the people that doing that shit because they like getting high and they going through stuff and they like addicted. Like, and then there's the people that do it for trends. And for the people that's really in the shit, it's not as easy as seeing somebody die and be like, oh my God, that's a wake-up call, I'm gonna stop. It'll make you think like, damn, I don't want that to happen to me. But at the same time, you already addicted. Your body is screaming for that shit.
Right. October 2019 brought us World on Drugs, the joint mixtape from Future and Juice WRLD.
Like many of these other suddenly dropped collaborative albums from top-name rappers, this thing is very much a mixed bag.
Critics may have given it a lukewarm reception, but honestly, this tape is a vibe. From its trippy, vibrant cover art to the euphoric, intoxicating tracks like Shorty, Ain't Living Right, and Hard Work Pays Off, it's an experience that feels both wavy and electrifying. Sure, it's not perfect, but the aesthetic and energy alone make it a standout moment in their catalogs. Jet Lag is pure fire. Juice's hook is impossible to get out of your head, and he, Future, and Young Scooter bounce off each other perfectly. Then comes Astronauts, where Juice and Future flex their chemistry, trading slick bars and flows over an icy trap beat that hits hard. This is what makes this project so enjoyable. Collab albums don't need to reinvent the wheel, but they do need chemistry, and Juice and Future have that in spades. Their melodic, spacey trap sound might not be new for either of them, but when the quality stays high, who cares? Take Hard Work Pays Off, for example. It might be the best track on the album. Juice's hook is ridiculously infectious, and Future rides the beat just as smoothly, riffing on Juice's lines and making them his own. The whole tape is packed with moments like this where the duo just works. There are far more hits than misses, making this collab a solid win.
First time I met Future was actually last year. I started working on the project, Chalice Studios, and I think that's West Hollywood. When he had made Beast Mode 2, Wi-Fi lit, and I posted like, "Oh, this is fire," because it's fire. He responded to me on Twitter. Yeah. We locked in and made the Wrld on Drugs project.
If we're being real, Juice carried the album. But let's stop acting like Future didn't bring anything to the table. Sure, he's not a lyrical powerhouse, but his melodies, hooks, and overall style helped shape the tape's vibe. And here's the kicker. This collab wasn't just a creative move, it was a strategic one. It put Juice in front of Future's massive fan base, giving him the boost that turned him into a household name. Keep hating if you want, but this partnership worked exactly how it was supposed to.
What is it that drives you to go that hard, though?
The love for music. That shit is like, music gets me high. You know, other people say that, but like, I think this shit really gets me high. It puts me in another place. Music has intoxicating effects on me and my soul. So like, I've always been attracted to music, and then to be able to have a platform to make the thing that I'm attracted to and be like the creator of the shit that people fuck with, it puts me in just a mindset where that's all I want to do. I love performing too, but I think I love recording the most. I love creating and recording the most.
Just a few months later, in March 2019, Juice dropped his second studio album, Death Race for Love.
I kind of got the idea from one of the songs on the project called Alphine and/or Rider. The song's called Rider. Twisted Metal was one of my favorite games coming up. It's like a death race game. And I thought I'd just incorporate Twisted Metal and like a death race to like hanging on to a relationship or doing what you have to do to maintain a relationship or going through hell to fix something or to get somebody back. It's just pretty much what it consists of. But the album is it's a little bit of everything. It's not just rap, it's not just rock, it's not just jazz, it's like a little bit of everything.
It kicks off with Empty, where Juice lays it all out, admitting he uses drugs to numb his pain.
That's something that I feel like a lot of people neglect, which is completely and utterly wrong. And me speaking from an African-American man, I know that this stuff is neglected in like our community. You know, you tell your mom, your dad, your auntie, whoever, you feel like you got anxiety, you feel like you got depression, you feel like you got ADD, whatever. They gonna look at you like you're crazy.
This raw honesty carries into tracks like Robbery, where Juice's slam poet style takes center stage. In a cinematic moment, he channels John Cusack from Say Anything, trying to win back his girl with lines like, "I'm throwing rocks at your window, I need to go home."
Oh yeah, that's a good ass song.
Juice might be open about his emotions, but he's still cautious. Case in point, he names the song Emotions, as if poking fun at his own vulnerability to keep his masculinity intact. This duality runs through his music. And in this album, Juice comes across as a Jekyll and Hyde embodiment, caught between love and hate, passion and indifference. One moment he's infatuated, the next he's spiraling, his world flipping between obsession and apathy. It's messy, it's chaotic, and it's what makes him so compelling.
Just me getting my thoughts out there and me like kind of pouring my soul out on the beats. It's like me venting. And that's funny you said that because I've literally said before that my music is like my therapy sessions, but there's no confidentiality. I put it out there for people to receive, reevaluate, and learn, and grab my hand and walk with me through whatever they may be going through, you know?
This album brings 3 guests to the table, and they're a mixed bag. Brent Faiyaz delivers a surprisingly smooth interlude that feels like a detour but a welcome one. Young Thug does what he does best, bring chaotic, zany energy. Then there's Clever, whose feature feels more like a gimmick, making it painfully clear just how far ahead Juice is from his emo rap peers. He isn't some punk artist cashing in on hip-hop because it's trendy. He's a rapper with deep, diverse influences who could have easily pivoted into a pop punk and left rap behind, but he didn't. Instead, Death Race for Love captures Juice in his rawest form, channeling every influence and emotional struggle into music that's as authentic as it is vulnerable. This is Juice at his core, messy, honest, and unmistakably himself.
It's like a basketball player at his court. It's a passion of mine. I love creating. That's the best way I can express myself. I could express myself in songs sometimes more than I could talk, you know? So like, I don't know. It's my version of writing down in a diary, so.
One of the main reasons Juice WRLD resonated so deeply with Gen Z was his raw relatability. He didn't just talk about his feelings, he laid them all out in plain view. While many rappers cautiously revealed their struggles, Juice never hid his. His openness made him a beacon for fans who were fighting their own battles, seeing him as someone who truly understood. But nobody could have predicted the heartbreak of December 8th, 2019.
Juice WRLD seemed to be on top of the world, his music career exploding, the video for his hit Lucid Dreams with almost 400 million views on YouTube. This morning, so many questions as to how a seemingly healthy 21-year-old could die so unexpectedly.
Juice's private jet from Los Angeles to Chicago landed into a storm of federal agents, tipped off about guns and drugs on board. The search uncovered 70 pounds of marijuana, and witnesses later revealed Juice had swallowed multiple Percocets as the police inspected the plane.
Everybody thinks, there was this, I don't know, it was on TMZ or whatever, that like, oh, Juice knew the cops were coming, so took a handful of pills, and like, that's not what happened. I'm like, Juice did drugs, yes, you know what I mean, but he didn't try to hide them, or he literally, like, someone else held the duffel bag and had all the, like, there'd be no possible way for anybody to eat that amount of pills and think it's going to be okay. And like, Juice didn't want to die. He wasn't going to kill himself. He knew he wasn't going to get in trouble. He had people around him that were going to take care of, you know what I mean? Like, so like, we were even sitting there in the lobby, and his manager, G Money, walks up to him. They're both just like, we're all good. You're like, yeah, we're like high five each other. Like, don't worry, we're all good. Everything's gonna be cool. And then it was like, within a minute or two, he just started having a seizure right there in the lobby, like as they were like searching the bags and stuff like that. And then that's when like all the chaos broke loose. He made this weird noise. It was like something I've never heard.
What followed was devastating. Juice began seizing and convulsing. Emergency responders tried to save him with naloxone, but by the time he reached Advocate Christ Medical Center, it was too late, and he was only 21.
And when I looked at him in the eyes, it's like, you could see that he wasn't there. But it seemed like forever before the ambulance came, and then I think the lady got the Narcan, they gave him Narcan. They finally got in the ambulance, or in the stretcher, and they took him to the ambulance or whatever. And then they're like, whose bag is this? That one was mine. And I was getting arrested. But they were like, he's going to be okay. He's going to be okay. I mean, I saw him and he didn't look okay, but they were like, he's going to be okay. And then, I found out he was gone until I was in jail. Like, I was just in the holding cell. And then I was like, just, handcuffed to the fucking wall. And these two detectives just walked in. They're like, literally verbatim, they're like, we don't give a shit about anything else. We just want to know about the kid that died. And I was like, what?
That boy Juice, man.
Died.
He was just 21 years old. Police say he suffered some sort of medical emergency this morning at Chicago's Midway Airport. They haven't said yet exactly what caused his death. Higgins was named the top new artist at the 2019 Billboard Music.
Weeks later, his cause of death was confirmed: an overdose of oxycodone and codeine. His funeral took place on December 13th, 2019, at the Holy Temple Cathedral Church of God in Christ in Harvey, Illinois. Family, friends, and collaborators gathered to say their final goodbyes to this fragile artist.
What if it's a black church?
The flood of posthumous releases
Higgins.
from Juice WRLD's
I know
management
people with the last
is
name Higgins.
polarizing. To some, it's a celebration of his creativity. To others, it reeks of exploitation, a predatory move to profit from a legacy that should have been left untouched.
I didn't hear all those songs. I started hearing them after he passed. I'm like, dang, he was talking about, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know he was saying all that shit, man. Like, did you hear that shit?
Yeah.
He was saying, like, basically, like, he wanted to, like he wanted to die, some shit, man. And that shit hit me, like, bro, I cried, though, like, listening to some
3,000 unreleased
Out of respect,
songs is
I'll steer clear of
insane.
reviewing his posthumous work. That said, Fighting Demons is an exception worth noting. Curated by Juice's estate and closest friends, it feels like a cry for change. The interludes featuring Eminem and Juice himself and the carefully chosen tracks send a vital message. Don't idolize our mistakes, but please learn from them.
So how do you not deal with the same way? How do you not end up like X? How do you not end up like Peep? How do you, like...
You learn from people's mistakes. You learn from people's downfalls. That's the only reason why I used to like history. Like the class history, like social studies and all that, because
I hated history because they kept on saying the same shit over again.
Slaughtered and people.
Fuck it, we get Christopher Columbus bitch ass.
Learn from other people's mistakes.
Fuck him.
You see what people was lacking at, people was slipping at. You learn from their mistakes. So I think that's another reason why I know what I know now, is because that's how I always looked at life. Learning from my own mistakes, and learning from other people's mistakes. You can save a lot of pain and struggle by learning from other people's shit, but sometimes you have to learn, from your own mistakes type shit.
It's not just an album. It's a call to action for fans to confront their struggles and find the courage to seek help. A message Juice WRLD tragically didn't get to fully live out himself.
I think the main advice I give myself is just to not give up and keep striving and stay sober.
Man, shout out to Juice WRLD, man. Shout out to Luesta, man, who be making good videos, man. The destruction of Juice WRLD legacy, man. Let's get it.
It was Juice WRLD who told us all legends fall in the making, and tragically, that was the case for him too. Now 5 years on from his premature passing, he remains one of the most popular artists in the world. Even today, Juice WRLD is still dominating the streaming platforms, with his tracks averaging an astonishing 212 million streams sold, a number unmatched by anyone in hip-hop. However, most of his fans believe that the public's continued love for him is only because of the impact he left on Earth while he was physically here. Because, in their opinion, those in charge of keeping his spirit alive are closer to sabotaging it more than anything. In fact, many feel that those responsible for honoring Juice's legacy are doing the complete opposite by exploiting, mishandling, and tarnishing the very pieces of art that he left behind. And when you consider how drastically the quality and the reception of his posthumous releases have declined over time, it's easy to see why, for so many fans, the latest efforts to artificially further his career feel like the final straw. It's your boy Luesta, and this is how Juice WRLD's legacy has been tarnished by his team. Back when Juice first passed on that fateful night in Chicago's Midway Airport, everyone immediately hoped that Grade A Productions, the label that has been overseeing his career from the outset, would try with their best abilities to respectfully handle this overwhelming loss. And why wouldn't they? Because the company, which is ran by the former rapper turned industry titan Lil Bibby, his brother G Money, and Peter Gideonwo, had always guided Juice's career. And if you ask someone like Bibby, he always had Jared's best interests in mind. He even tried to protect him from himself himself when things got dark.
I guess, leading up, to the incident at the airport, that he was already checked into rehab. He was already scheduled to go.
But this is
all right.
This confidential. But yeah, he was we already had him signed up for rehab. He already agreed to go.
Yeah,
because that was like pulling teeth with him. Like I said, he was taking 1.5 pills, and like I thought that was crazy. You know what I'm saying, Vlad? Because all of my like Herb and all of them, they only taking 1 or a half. You know what I'm saying? So 1.5 compared to a half, I'm looking like, bro, what the fuck? So I get to freaking out, like, bro, what the fuck? Like, I get to telling everybody, like, man, look, we gotta send this kid to rehab. He doing 4 pills, da-da-da-da-da. I'm freaking out, I'm telling everybody from the label, I'm telling everybody, we found out he was doing more than 4, bro. Like a week before he passed, we found out he was doing, I ain't gonna say the number, but it was a lot.
Huge number.
Yeah.
So that freaked you out.
That was the final straw. Like he said, all right, I'll go, but I'm not stopping.
Okay.
He said, all right, I'll go, but I'm not stopping. Like I'll lower my dosage, but he said, I like doing it too much. Like I ain't stopping.
Now, it's always easy to place the blame on other people, but truly, you really can't stop an addict from using unless they want to. Unfortunately, Juice was one of those people who didn't want any help, leading to his untimely passing just days after his 21st birthday. And as rumors of Juice leaving behind a treasure trove of music began to surface the internet, fans expected Bibby to pull off something special in celebration of their fallen hero, which is exactly what happened when Legends Never Die dropped in 2020. It wasn't just the best-selling posthumous album of all time, but a rare case where it was pretty much universally praised for its faithfulness to the late artist's vision. And at that point, there was a lot of goodwill towards Grade A and Co. And a lot of that came down to the fact that they spoke as if they were treating Juice's work with extreme care. And in a 2022 interview with Forbes, Lil Baby definitely made it seem that way. He left his fans with a ton of music. People just remember him for being a super nice and kind person. I knew him for 4 or 5 years. He was one of the nicest people I ever met. Baby would then go on to elaborate on the careful deliberation involved in releasing Juice's unreleased tracks, considering factors such as what fans are feeling, how music has evolved over the years, and what Juice himself would have wanted. Then, there was the human element to it all. In interviews, Baby indicated that Juice wasn't just his artist, but someone he genuinely cared about. He even admitted that going back through his catalog to put the album together took a huge emotional toll on him.
How was it putting together that album after he had died?
It was rough, man.
Yeah.
Because I ain't hear those songs, Vlad. I didn't hear all those songs. I started hearing them after he passed. I'm like, damn, he was talking about, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know he was saying all that shit, man. Like, did you hear that shit?
Yeah.
He was saying, like, basically, like, he wanted to, like he wanted to die, some shit, man. And that shit hit me, like, bro, I cried, though, like, listening to some of that shit. Yeah.
As tough as it must have been, nobody could argue with the result. And for Grade A, it paid off big time, earning them the 3rd most successful album in 2020. But while everyone was relatively happy with what they delivered on that occasion, the same can't be said for basically every move since then. Because whether it was driven by financial motives, frustration with the audience, or a fundamental understanding of what fans really wanted from Juice, things have taken a serious turn for the worse since Grade A's initial triumph. In the wake of the release of their 3rd and allegedly final posthumous Juice Wrld album, it's starting to look like the damage to the relationship between Grade A and those who love and treasure Juice is irreversible. Although it's not something that happened overnight, the dynamic between Grade A and Juice's fan base has really mutated into something far less loving and community-based over recent years. Instead, it now feels more like a transactional exchange between customer and salesman, leaving everyone involved unsatisfied. While it wasn't really one individual incident that sparked this, things really began to change when they started making some unethical business moves to support their protege, the Kid Laroi. In the wake of Juice's death, the Australian rapper and singer immediately began to become Grade A's top priority. And soon, they were holding Juice's music for ransom in an attempt to boost the sales of the Kid Laroi's project.
So when the album dropped, Legends Never Die,
Kid
said,
Laroi.
get 100K on Kid Laroi's album, and we'll drop the deluxe. Never dropped the deluxe.
Wait, Bibby said if you get 100K on Kid Laroi,
or 50K or something,
they'll drop the deluxe
they'll drop the deluxe to Legends Never Die.
To Juice, is it?
Yeah. So on Twitter, and he lied. He keeps promoting Kid Laroi. I just feel like he's trying to boost Kid Laroi.
What's that nigga name? Slump?
Okay, I don't know if it's tasteful or just
The nigga
tasteless. I guess the
who's
fans
with
would
X.
decide. Yeah, they are.
Then he
Like,
started
the
being
hell?
with
Like, you
Juice.
know what I mean?
X dot the
Isn't
Juice
here
dot.
anymore. And you know, I think there's a respectful way to do it. I wouldn't say necessarily if you're lying to fans about putting out Juice WRLD's music and you're having them basically forcing them to go support the Kid Laroi, that's the best thing to do. But truth be told, and I'm really trying to, I don't want to be disrespectful with this phrase, but one monkey don't stop a show. Like, Juice passed away. They running business over there. They're not about to be like, all right, let's keep crying and put Juice's stuff out. They're trying to get the next horse to, again, it's business.
And it didn't help that by this point, the quality control of the Juice WRLD projects they were curating were beginning to
world, man.
As when his second posthumous album, Fighting Demons, dropped, the response was vastly different than how Legends Never Die was received.
I don't think I need to remind you guys of how many artists we've unfortunately lost over the past 5 years and how many mediocre and somewhat unfinished posthumous records have followed just maybe months later. But like I said, Legends was a sufficient display of Juice's style, his abilities, and the general themes that painted his lyricism. However, I'm not as hopeful for this second posthumous record to turn out as consistent. There are some tracks on this thing that lead me to believe that we're beginning to scrape the bottom of the barrel here in terms of like workable, shareable songs, which honestly is just not the quality level that I would hope a Juice project would be at, especially since we're kind of dipping in for a second time to drop another posthumous album. I guess all I can hope for is that if there is enough material for a third record, that it is, combed over a little more carefully and groomed for a better presentation, and that Juice's loved ones are seeing the benefit of these projects coming out. Feeling a strong 4 to a light 5 on this one.
After such a careful and considered first attempt, it suddenly seemed like they were falling into the typical traps of a posthumous project, like forced features with artists Juice never even met while he was alive, such as Suga from BTS, for example.
This is the second posthumous album, and it's been less than 2 years he's passed away. And not only that, but we've gotten 2 deluxe versions of these albums, and nobody's asking for all this music. I mean, let the man rest. And the other thing too is, like, I'm very conflicted about this because I really do believe that the family, deserves to reap the benefits of the artist's work, but maybe do that in the spirit of a greatest hits album instead. Because to me, I don't care, if it's the brother, the sister, the mother, the girlfriend of the artist is, but you don't know. You shouldn't have that creative decision to know if the artist would have put out that song or that album or that body of work.
On top of that, the rollout came with the usual issues, feeling less like a heartfelt tribute to a beloved artist and more like another commercial cash grab.
The fans deserve to have the music, and at the same time, the artist's name deserves to be respected at this point, because again, like, as soon as there's all kinds of these crazy marketing stunts and all these sort of marketing rollouts that come into a posthumous album, it's like, okay,
I feel like
what are you guys really doing here? Obviously, we know records have to sell, but put the music out for the fans if that's what you guys really want to do, and see how it sticks. And at the end of the day, you guys are still eating regardless of what the amount is, so it's a win for the fans, it's a win for the artist, because you're not disrespecting his name by putting out half-assed material out there, and also you guys get to get your cut out of it and really get benefit from it. But when you start teasing the album for months at a time and treating it like it's a regular rollout and doing all these crazy promotions, and
it's too much, man.
Dropped in December of 2021, it was initially expected that the long-awaited follow-up, The Party Never Ends, would emerge soon after. After all, Bibby had teased it before Fighting Demons ever dropped, and this time, his manager proclaimed that it was going to be a different experience than what fans were likely anticipating in the same
So they feel like Lil Bibby and
Now,
Ali,
I'm feeling like the fans
Lottie
want to
done
fund
fucked up
Juice.
his
Juice wasn't always sad and in his
shit.
feelings. Sometimes he'd make happy music. Every day was a new show. Like, he would get in an argument with his girlfriend one day, and then he would go in the studio and make 5 love songs to try and make up and play for her so she would be happy. Considering Juice's fans loved his contemplative and emotional approach to his music, this rang alarm bells straight away. However, this was just one of several warning signs before it dropped, because over the course of a few years, it seemed that the creators lost their understanding of what made a great Juice WRLD song and how to preserve its essence. This is something that Anthony Fantano explains perfectly in a video titled "This Is Insulting," where he said,
"Yeah, the Juice WRLD music we have continued to get is just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Either it's redundant and it doesn't really add to his catalog, doesn't really, sort of make for the best stuff he's
he dead. So to me,
released, as Juice WRLD was very clear.
I feel like they ain't picking the right songs. I feel like that. They just putting the same, put anything out.
Just like, do all of his tracks and everything on the fly, and then pick out of what was left over to kind of just grab the highlights and put those onto records, which, I mean, that's a valid way to go about your process. But that doesn't mean every single thing he did in every single moment or recording that we could possibly cobble together should see the light of day.
And to make matters worse, the way it's packaged is doing them no favors. Just like Pop Smoke fans experienced years ago with Virgil Abloh's cover for his first
Pop Smoke didn't have no music in the tub.
You'll be back! Emos can't help people customize and say. For his first posthumous project, the 999 crew were horrified by the artwork for The Party Never Ends. The artwork was helmed by Takashi Murakami, the legendary Japanese designer behind Ye albums like Kids See Ghosts and Graduation, among others. But this was almost unanimously declared to not be it.
The cover got announced about a week before the release, and honestly, it was met with a lot of negative reactions. People were saying it didn't look professional, which, looking at it, is a fair critique. Then there's a six-pack abs on a cartoon version of Juice, which a lot of people thought looked unrealistic and unnecessary. Overall, this cover was, let's just say, not it.
Besides the fact that the artwork just wasn't great, it was also problematic when you consider how Juice passed on.
So, frankly, I feel like it's kind of, again, disrespectful, reductive, and out of fucking touch to drop a record and, like, an album cover that's like, hey, Juice WRLD, endless party, we're having a great time, oh, it's so psychedelic, we're out of our minds, we're totally high, we're wigged out, whoa. Like, what an awful message to send.
Despite all the flack,
man, that's what Juice WRLD was at that time, though. You know what I'm saying?
In an interview shortly before the album,
what they gonna do? Hire his
Grade
music?
A's Peter Gideonwo talked about the cover art,
hire his
and he made a
music.
bold
Shit, that's what
claim
he was
saying that this
doing.
was just what Juice WRLD would have wanted. Prior to Juice's passing, a month or two before, in between his tour in Australia, he booked a private jet for $200,000 and went to meet Murakami. His goal was always to work with Murakami in any capacity. After he passed, we made it a priority to make sure Murakami had something to do with the final album, because it was that important to Juice when he was alive. He expressed his vision to him. Murakami's not just out here doing album covers. We tried to do things that he would have loved, to keep his legacy alive and aligned with what he wanted to do. With all of this going on and his fans making comparisons to how other legacies of fellow hip-hop icons are being handled, it's safe to say that expectations surrounding the actual finished product were pretty low, leading some users to really admire how the teams of artists like Mac Miller and Lil Peep have moved in making sure their catalogs get the justice they deserve. To make things even worse, the album carried a lot of weight. Lil Baby made it clear from the start that this record was meant to be Juice WRLD's final chapter, a proper send-off to honor his legacy as an artist. I think it just feels right to end it on a high note.
It's a good video,
I know he's got tons of leaked tracks out there, but this feels like the right way to close things out with the Fortnite party and the United Center celebration. A lot of his music is on the sad side, but this one feels more uplifting, like a real celebration. But despite all the effort to make this a meaningful tribute, what was meant to be a celebration ended up spiraling into a disaster. And the worst part, it didn't have to be this way. And they could have saved it if they just implemented a little restraint or simply listened to the fans. On the day The Party Never Ends emerged, Juice WRLD fans unsurprisingly flocked to hear what was on offer. So much so that he was the most streamed artist in the entirety of the US. But as they hit play on the album that was billed as a celebration of all that was so unique and inspiring about Juice, the opposite proved to be true. And as soon as they heard it, people already felt like it wasn't it. Or at the very least, it wasn't what he deserved as a send-off.
I understand as to why a lot of the hardcore Juice WRLD fans were.
I like one of his songs he came out with.
They fucked up with that. 18 tracks. In reality, probably like
let me see.
10, 12. Maybe.
He had a good song,
like
man. Juice WRLD.
Are like really like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I mean, this is me speaking as a Juice WRLD fan to y'all. Let's just keep listening to them fucking lead tracks because who knows
the party
if we're
never
gonna get them
ends.
as an official release. And
They
if,
got some good songs on it though.
Might as well.
There wasn't even a singular issue either. From the track list to the production, people were dissatisfied, if not disgusted. This was not a good album. Everything about it is flawed. The auto-tune, vocals, mixing, and beats were all poor quality. The last ever Juice WRLD album the fans will ever stay up for, meant to honor how diverse his talent was. And they in infested with more dog shit posthumous features, shit mixing,
Yeah,
and
the album,
Just listen to a Leroy song
album
with
track was
literally
fire
nothing
though.
on the song from Juice. They did my ghost so dirty, man. To make matters worse, it looks like the songs are quickly cascading out of the rotations of fans to the point that it seems primed to flop. This is because after they checked it out, people just aren't returning for more. Naturally, people were quick to point fingers, and they landed in familiar directions. You can thank Bibby and that goof Benny Blanco. That's what they get for ignoring fans and ruining the legacy of a great artist. So what went wrong? Well, let's start with the producer in question, Benny Blanco. If you're not familiar, he's a multi-award-winning producer who worked with Juice WRLD on 5 tracks. Now, that's obviously a lot less than people like Nick Mira and Max Lord, a man who Bibby initially claimed would be crucial to the process. Nah, it's the craziest shit because he recorded it in a lot of different places. He recorded a lot of his music with this one engineer, Max Lord. I had to go pull up on Max and go through his vault, which 90% of it was already leaked. I had to pick the best songs that weren't leaked and go to other people. Everybody was hitting me. Oh, I got some songs that aren't leaked. I gotta pick through everybody's shit. And a lot of time they were leaked. Back in September of this year, Max opened up about the project and insisted that the lack of a release date came about because some of their gambles hadn't paid off.
Max, what's the actual reason the Party Never End hasn't come out?
Bibby is a very thorough thinker. He just had to think about stuff, I think.
Hear that?
Try things to see if they worked or not. And I don't think they worked all the way as intended, so...
Like, I think the whole Benny Blanco thing got resolved.
Bibby thinks about things a lot, and then if tried the Benny thing might not have worked out all the way like that. So it looks like we're back in action, but don't speak too soon. But there's a lot more movement and talking about it going on that wasn't happening for like a whole year. So we're looking good, boys. Things are looking up.
Now, it's not like Benny had never met Juice. He had real experiences with him and even praised his incredible ability to produce songs, even though they emerged from nowhere.
Real Shit was the first one we ever did. The second one we ever did was Roses. He literally gets in the booth, freestyles all the lyrics, all the melodies, did the whole song, and then we'll be like, all right, play it again. Then he would do it again, and then he would do it one more time, and then by the time he was done, he would have 3 full finished songs, completely different lyrics, melodies, everything. And he'd say, all right, pick the best one. And he would get out of the booth. Sometimes I would just take the beat away and make 3 different beats to every single thing he would.
Over time, they got reasonably tight and appeared alongside each other in interviews. At one stage, Benny even discussed Juice's drug use with him and seemed to indicate that he was doing too much without actually intervening.
But like, how do people do? Well, I don't get the whole lean thing. Like, how do you do lean knowing that like it's like it can kill you right away? Like,
I mean, I feel like in today's society, the oxygen we breathe could kill us. Like
that's true.
Anything.
But it's so crazy. I'd be so scared to try.
But you know what though? It depends on your usage, bro. Like some people could drink casually, sip casually all their lives and be perfectly okay. Because I feel like if you sip casually, it's identical to what alcohol does to your liver if you get drunk.
Yeah.
But you have those people that take it to the extreme.
But as has become clear, all the Grammys Benny has picked up doesn't mean that he was the person to lead the project. And it seems like Juice's fans will never forgive him, nor Grade A, for handling what should have been an absolute home run so badly. Basically, they scrapped Max Lord's version of The Party Never Ends and handed it off to Benny instead. Any of Juice's fans could have just picked a few solid leaks, thrown in 2 unreleased tracks, added a couple of unheard songs, and, called it a day. But instead, they decided to put all of their energy into the promo and getting Fall Out Boy of all people on board. It's honestly really dumb to throw out the work of a guy who was in the studio with Juice every single day. For a pop producer,
he didn't have no smash shit on it.
With Juice,
I think his highest song was 2 million.
Whatever chemistry Juice had with Benny doesn't even come close to what he
in the
had
Pocket
with
got
Max.
55 million.
Helped create his biggest hits. While Max Lord had remained silent on the issue, other regular collaborators and friends of Juice have sounded off, including DJ Scheme, who was known to be really close with Juice WRLD as well as XXXTentacion. As not only did he feel that Benny wasn't the guy who should have got the call, but that he wasn't doing his part to alert his fan base to his existence. In a now deleted tweet, DJ Scheme wrote on X saying, "How the hell do you help put an album together and don't post it once? I don't care. Benny should have never touched it. He was never the man for the job."
Yeah, I think it's 2.3, his highest song.
Albums, the disappointing outcome of The Party Never Ends has turned into a classic case of everyone passing the blame. That includes Lil Bibby, who at times seems to be growing bitter towards the fans themselves. albums. In a Rolling Stone interview prior to the album's release, he discussed where he was at with the project and pretty much blamed everything on the leaker as opposed to anyone else. I always have a list of my favorite Juice songs, but the fans always leak my favorite ones, so it's been tough putting it together because I always gotta go back in and find new good songs, as somehow it's new leaks every single day. Then he went directly at the fans, saying, I have a love-hate thing with them. I like that they're excited about him and that they want to hear about the leaks. It's crazy to see that 5 years later, they still love him this much, but it's hurting the albums, the money, and everything. At this point, I don't really look at it for the money. I want to please the fans and make sure everything is done properly. I do get tired of them sending threats and saying crazy shit to me sometimes, but I feel like it's teaching me not to care what people think. I already didn't care what people think that much, but now I'm on a different level. Much like the fan base's anger towards him, his own frustrations are nothing new, and at one point, he even threatened to cancel The Party Never Ends out of annoyance about the leaks. Along the way, he asked for the hate to stop straight away.
I was to say, I love Bibby, man, stop saying Bibby.
People say that we don't put enough music, but then say we do it for the money, he wrote in another post. I will try my best, but I am human and I have feelings. This is not an easy job. People making crazy allegations and saying hurtful things. I want to put out music because I know that's what Juice wanted, and I know that's what the fans want. But sometimes I want to quit. Over time, the disconnect between the fans and Grade A has continued to widen. And while Bibby feels like he wasn't doing an adequate job for them to ease up, the fans are more than willing to list his failings. One fan on Reddit, summing up the frustration and racking up 400 likes, put it bluntly. Fans just want what Juice wanted to drop to be out. Clearly, you're not doing that often. So, you're telling me Juice was getting Polo and Trippy on Feline because he didn't like Yachty anymore? Or that he wanted to drop Blood on My Jeans solo when he left it open for Gunna? Plus, why drop a 2-song EP Juice made himself and already dropped on all DSPs when he was alive on Fighting Demons? Half the stuff they do just doesn't make sense, and or is obviously not something Juice himself would have done.
They don't know Juice WRLD like that.
The whole thing comes down to a difference in priority. For Bibby, he's attempting to run a business and is trying to monetize a catalog that is being leaked every time he turns around. On the other hand, fans are eager to simply enjoy the music and often find Bibby's efforts to ensure the releases are properly packaged to be off-putting or overly calculated. And the problem now is that what is left over isn't necessarily the best that Juice had to offer. Sure, he had recorded music at an exponential rate, but it's impossible to knock it out of the park every single time.
Well, my music is like, I don't overthink it. Music is really just, people love to hear something that came out that was good, that's natural, that doesn't sound forced, it sounds authentic. People love that. So, even certain breaths and little sounds that people make in between the words that they say could make the song a hit. Just like the cadence of the way that they breathe it and the way they mouth is like moving. You can fix your mouth to talk in like a different voice, and it's just, I just let what flows out of me flows. So if it's something that sounds like it needs to be spazzed on, I'll spaz. But like I try not to overthink shit.
You never write, right?
Never. No, it's like freehand versus tracing.
Oh, okay. But you don't think that you could end up with something better if you sometimes wrote some stuff?
No.
It's just not for you.
Nope. Fuck that.
Had Juice WRLD survived, there's a good chance that a lot of the music we heard would have been refined or left on the cutting room floor. After all, he would have been 26 today, and his focus would have shifted. Not to mention that an artist as innovative as him would have been able to move with the times and put his own spin on the modern sound, if not create a new one entirely. But above all conversations surrounding Juice's back catalog and what should be done with it, what no one really acknowledges is that in all likelihood, Grade A doesn't have as much of a say as they like to pretend they do.
That man's throwing away all responsibility of Juice WRLD so he doesn't get attacked anymore. The rapper's rights and income streams was quietly sold to Opus Music Group. Now they have the power to release hundreds of unreleased Juice WRLD tracks.
As suggested, Juice's catalog was sold to Opus Music
They sold his catalog?
in a 9-figure deal. Opus now owns 90% of Juice WRLD's interest in master recording income and 90% of his share of publishing ownership.
That's over 100
Alongside
mil.
that, they likely get a say over what happens with the entire arsenal of unreleased music that remains either unavailable
They sold his music for 100 mil?
claiming that they want to represent the body of work of Juice WRLD, whose cultural significance and generational influence can't be overstated, is an honor and responsibility. Opus, like any major company, are acting as though they have greater ambitions other than profit. But since then, things have continued to get more convoluted. As now, a company known as Litmus Music acquired Opus for an insane $400 million. That's a lot of zeros. And with this deal, the process of handling Juice's music seems to have gotten even more complicated. So it's highly likely that control is slipping further away from the people like Bibby and ending up in the hands of those who never even knew Juice, let alone understand his vision or intentions. Whether or not this is actually the last album, it seems like Bibby and co. want to distance themselves from the idea of that decision. And now you know why. But the sad fact is that Juice's insane work ethic created this situation where his archive is now to be exploited. And crazily, this is something that his ex-girlfriend Ali Lottie actually predicted.
It's always been about money. If Jared made enough money to not have this issue, I would literally sit on his lap every day and be like, don't go record. I cannot let Jared's legacy be what it is. Jared would never treat any of his fans like this.
Now, Ali is a problem in itself, as she is no longer acting as the muse that Juice once depicted her as. But there's literally an entire video that I dedicated on that subject, so let's just keep with the music for this one. Although they've specified
this is not what we mean by habit stack.
Specified that this is the last album, Grade A has never said that it was his last release. And on that same Rolling Stone interview, Peter Gidianwo said that there were guest spots from Jared that were likely to come. On the music side, we understand what a good verse is. And I think the good part about working on Juice's stuff is when people receive a song from Juice that we say, hey, do you want to get on the song? Or whatever. People treat it like it's Drake or Kendrick Lamar, to be honest. And they try to do their best because they know at any point in time, if it's put out correctly and received correctly, it could be a very, very big song. Juice has the most songs in history, with at least 100 million streams. And he has one of the most highest stream rates of any artist that's ever been released, right? I think every Juice song averages 100 million streams. So when it comes to picking the verses and making sure they're good and authentic, it's not the hardest job because people take it very seriously, because it's almost looked at as an opportunity to get another hit record. So I think people take it very seriously in that manner. Once again, this isn't an idea that's likely to be well received by Juice's faithful fans, who literally just want to hear the songs he recorded in his lifetime rather than anything artificially made. Meanwhile, Pete and Grade just keep doing too much, claiming that they want to do quote-unquote immortal shit. But they really just keep doing things nobody asked for, and that don't truly expand his legacy, such as bringing a Juice WRLD album to Mars in 2075. This is the polar opposite of what fans want, and unfortunately, it now seems like the massive canyon that's opened between Lil Baby's team and the audience seems too big to repair. The best thing they could do now is either let it rest, or place the catalog in the hands of others, such as Max Lord, who are perhaps best equipped to know what to do with it.
Fucking
because
up
if the
Juice
party never
WRLD
ends
legacy, man.
anything, it's that their hearts aren't in it the same way anymore. Or maybe it's time to let
Highest
Juice
fan
rest
don't have
and
control
allow
over
him
the
to just
music.
be
I
remembered
understand
for the incredible
label,
talent he was, rather than constantly going through those hard drives that are left behind for more.
Yo, shout to Juice too, man. That kid was so talented, man. He like his freestyle he did on Westwood when he rapped for an hour. What the fuck? And I mean, he was he might have been mixing a little bit of written in there, but the way he was freestyle, like that's the shit that we used to try to do at the hip hop shop, was like try to work on our freestyles, right? But be able to slip in and out of written when you need to. You know what I'm saying? If you got a certain punchline you want to get to take out this dude, right? So to be so young, he like mastered that so fucking quickly. Yeah, it's really sad, man, that like his potential was so off the chart.
Rest in peace to Juice WRLD, a true one of a kind whose legacy deserves to be protected at all costs. But Grade A aren't the only ones who are ruining this man's reputation. And if you guys want to check out what Ali Lottie is doing to his name, you can click the video on the screen. As always, I want to thank y'all for watching today's video. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Alright, back. So if you watch the whole video, man, you will see how he came up, what certain events helped him get to the fame, how did he make his moves, how his people felt about him, how, you know what I'm saying, he took the whole rap game by storm and by surprise and ended up being a historical black figure in the rap game till today. You know what I'm saying? Was it 5-6 years later, Crip, after his OD. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, you know, that's a certain thing that's in the rap game or in as artists or actors or anything. You know what I'm saying? People, like regular people, you know, people who got regular jobs, a lot of people OD. And it's been more rappers who done OD. Like Innocence, you know, Big Scar. It's just plenty more. You know, they said Pete But yeah, man, it just showed you, man, they sold his whole fucking thing for $400 million. His whole label. I don't know if his parents, his people got any of it. That just goes to show you, man, sometimes, man, they will use you and make you produce so much, and they'll get rid of you. And they have your whole music catalog to just make a whole shit ton of money on. That's how I felt about Mo 3 sometimes. Mo 3 was such a hard worker. I feel like, he had all his music backed up and get him out the paint. We control him, his image, and who he is as a person because he got new music. But I pray that they somehow make Juice WRLD name more bigger, and like he got some lit songs. So check out his shit. I've been listening to it, man. We out this bitch hood, Northside, crib. Rest up, Juice WRLD.
Hey, Dad, you know dog, when we link up, dog, this shit be legendary. You know this instrumental, you the engineer on it, so Kodak everywhere.